Today's tension isn't about drama, it's about structural refinement. The fire of ambition must be supported by disciplined systems. Otherwise, small cracks become public lessons. Hello, everyone. This is Star Zenith 33, Laura Francesca here. And welcome to the ASTROWEATHER, where today we're going to be talking about the moon in Aries and how it's igniting bold emotions. As it squares Pholus in Capricorn, this asteroid of business and the domino effect, okay, in the house of service, in the house of our local community. As a matter of fact, let me just refresh it just to make sure. Yes, it's in the house of service. And what's going on here is it could trigger some major shifts in our partnerships, in the people we work with in our local community. This is not random. Okay, so let's decode what's being activated and how to lead it with power instead of impulse. Okay, there could be a lot of triggering moments here when it comes to business, when it comes to marketing, and let's jump in. So let's head into what is going on with the moon. What the heck is going on with the moon, right? The moon is in Aries, ruled by Mars. Okay, so our emotions can be a little Martian when I'm talking about a little bit out there. It could be a little bit over too much. Okay, it could be a little bit dramatic. Okay, and so what's happening with the moon in Aries? There could be this emotional urgency, okay, around your marketing, your career, how people are seeing your visibility. You want to be putting yourself out there. The desire to lead, initiate, and act now. The sensitivity to how you're being perceived publicly, okay, because it has to do with international eyeballs. The need for independence in your professional life, okay, because Aries rules independence. But it doesn't mean you have to do everything by yourself. You know what I mean? You have a team. You have people that are supportive or not, right? And so what this placement does, it doesn't want to wait, okay? It wants to move, it wants to decide, it wants to declare. So there's emotional courage, okay? There's an emotional courage here, but also impulsivity, okay? When feelings are being challenged or exposed. And so these reactions are not private, they are seen, they're visible, okay? In the 9th house of international travel, of international eyeballs, of where you are seeing marketing as well, okay? The 9th house is a marketing house. So it depends where you have your marketing. For me, I have my 9th house in Capricorn, in Mars. So, my, I would say my marketing is a little bit aggressive, or maybe a lot, with Mars in Capricorn. It has to do with business. It has to do with billionaires. It has to do with luxurious brands, all of that, okay? So Pholus, but for everybody it's different. This is why I suggest you get a reading so you'll know where your 9th house is in marketing, and marketing will become much easier for you, And by the way, I am working on the website, so you will be able to schedule an appointment if you do want to get a reading. They will be available on the website, okay, at www.starzenith33.com. I wouldn't suggest you go there yet. I'm still wrapping up a couple of things on the website, and it's still not available to book any readings, but it will be soon. Okay, really, really soon. So Pholus in Capricorn in the 6th house. We're talking here about work systems, daily routines, daily habits, employees, co-workers, responsibility structures. So Follis here says one small crack in the system reveals something much larger. Okay, and this is why I compare it with um, a bad apple. You know, there could be a bad apple in the company, and that bad apple can ruin the whole company. You know, so you do have to observe. The people you are around, who you are working with. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be different personalities that we're working with in a team, and that's why there has to be open communication as well, because not everybody's the same. You can't hire the same, then they're going to look like robots. And so different type of personnel different types of personalities um, can enter a team, and it is about communicating. And I believe that it's good to have different personalities. You don't want everybody to be the same, because one person might be good at, let's say, doing Excel spreadsheets, right? Another person might be good at speaking. Another person might be good at the marketing portion. And so you want all of these traits, to come together and communicate on, okay, you're good at the Excel spreadsheet, so you work on that. I'll work on coming up with a pitch, and speaking it, or making the connections, making the contacts, and it all works as a team, right? But there is going to be sometimes rotten apples, right? It might be that one rotten apple that does not want to get along with the team. Maybe it's an independent person and it just doesn't get along with the team, you know. Or it could be the domino effect. That's what Follis is. And it could be a domino effect, where if one domino gets taken out of the equation, then all of them are going to fall, right? And so, an example could be the Epstein. Okay. He was that rotten apple, and he was discovered, and then everybody got discovered, right? They released the list, and that one rotten apple was, him, right? And so, and because of the rotten apple that he is, then everybody got discovered. And now everybody's a rotten apple. Literally. That's Fullest. It's so interesting because he's a Capricorn. And I say he's a Capricorn because I feel he's alive. I really do. And was it Maxwell? She's also a Capricorn. She's in jail. But I'm not here to talk about him. I'm just here to talk about the astrology and what I see here. And so, when it comes to Capricorn, it adds hierarchy, it adds authority, accountability, exemplary, long-term structure. Okay, so this is not chaos energy, it's structural exposure energy. And what does it mean when it squares? Okay, when it's squaring here, we're talking about, in the ninth house, has to do with international travel, international eyeballs, marketing. It has to do with higher education. It rules the gurus. And when it comes to the sixth house, we're talking about the daily grind, service, logistics, staff, health. Okay, so translation in here is an emotional reaction with marketing. Okay, with your public role. And it could be triggered by something seemingly minor in your daily workflow or work environment. Okay. It could be that you're not credible. And I'm not going to say what I seen something today in Instagram, um, and it was somebody that was marketing, but I feel that it's not getting support, and it did some marketing in a location that I recently went. And I'm not saying it's because of me. I've been marketing that location for the longest, and in LA. And then all of a sudden there's just a celebrity that's just, but she's not a big celebrity, she's a small celebrity, but all of a sudden, she's talking about that same location, and I feel that it's just not supported. It's not being supported. I I looked at the comments, and she doesn't have bad comments, but she has little bit of comments, for being a celebrity like that. So I don't know. It just, to me, I looked at it, and it is what it is. They could do whatever they want to do in LA, and market the way they want to, but it was like not being supported because all of a sudden, like, this celebrity's never been out there. All of a sudden, she just wants to go to that location, and talk about, I don't know, she just doesn't seem very intelligent. She doesn't seem very intelligent. Like, she's not very detailed, and it's all about just looking at her, how she looks, versus what she's talking about that location. It was not aligned. So anyway, some examples that can happen is a small mistake from a coworker can trigger a bigger authority issue. It could be burnout from overworking, suddenly explodes publicly. A minor schedule shift exposes deeper imbalance in your career structure. A health signal can no longer be ignored because your ambition has been overriding it. So this is leadership under pressure. Um, and so another thing too is, if handled consciously, you restructure your daily habits to support your public success. Okay, you take bold ownership instead of blaming subordinates or circumstances. You see that discipline, which is Capricorn, stabilizes fire, which is Aries. And interesting, we have Saturn in Aries, right? So this transit asks, are you leading from ego or from integrated responsibility? You know? And so we know when it comes to celebrities, it has to do with ego, right? It's about look at me, versus what is the message that is being portrayed in this video, right? And why all of a sudden you just come out. It's kind of like, for instance, the Bad Bunny, right? Yes, we have to talk a little bit about the Bad Bunny. In the NFL, what I did notice in X, I was very shocked to see a video, which I'm not surprised. Maybe it was for clout, maybe not. I don't know. But there was this Cuban guy that was not supportive of Bad Bunny and was talking a lot of smack about Bad Bunny, right? Where it's saying, he mentioned all the flags in Latin America. And so this Cuban said, if Bad Bunny really cared about Cubans, he would have helped us when we were down. He would be helping us in some kind of way. How is he helping us? All of a sudden, he's on this NFL. Everybody's looking at him, and he's mentioning the flags, and he mentioned Cuba. But what has he done for Cuba? You know what I mean? He just comes out and just says the flag all of a sudden because he's on the NFL, or he wants to be supported by Cubans. And he said, I'm not going to support him. I'm not going to support Bad Bunny because what has he done for us? He hasn't done shit. And so that's what the guy, but he said it in a way more angry way. Okay. I reposted it, but then I took it off because I thought he was too angry. And I was like, I don't want to put stuff like that on my feed. And so, because it represents of who we are. And so for me, I don't want to be seen as somebody that's angry that way. But everybody's expressing themselves, especially right now with Saturn in Aries, and especially with the moon. Okay, the moon is more influential than Saturn holds back, but with the moon is your emotions of how you feel about a certain situation, and you could explode. Your feelings can explode. And so for those that are even born with moon in Aries and that are being held back and are not speaking, they're exploding their bodies within. They're actually getting sick because they're not able to express how they feel of what they want, the things that they want to say. It's being held back, for whatever reason it is, right? And so, I mean, even if you have at least a coach or a close friend or something that you can just talk to, or something that is good for your health, right? So these are the things that can happen because Foles doesn't create problems. It reveals where the system was already fragile. These are some of the things that can happen. Okay. Um, so understand that Pholos is already fragile there. Okay. It's already sensitive there in Capricorn. And, you know, coming to square the moon in Aries, um, the moon in Aries is going to explode. It's going to say what it has to say. Okay. So these are some of the things that can happen here. Um, when it comes to our service, our health, our local community. Okay. So let's look at the chart there and see what is going on. The moon is at 15 degrees of local communication. As a matter of fact, let me refresh the chart here, because I've been on this same chart. I'm not going to say how many times I've done the podcast, but I've had to delete and restart so many times. It's a weird day. And you know what? It's probably trying to trigger me. And I'm not going to say why. There's just a lot of interruptions right now. And I just figured, well, right now is a perfect day, because a perfect timing, because, but no, it's not. But I just have to jump in there, be like the horse and just say, oh, well, you know what I mean? These are the circumstances. So the moon is at 15 degrees of communication. It's coming together with Ceres. Okay. Ceres is this asteroid of land. It is of fertility. It is of nutrition. It is how we take care of our bodies. Okay. It also rules farming lands, crops, supermarkets, the food, right? And fertility as well. And it's at 21 degrees of world economies. Okay. This has to do with countries. And as it comes with the moon, is there's something going on with either real estate around the world, okay? Or it could be like supermarkets, farming crops and so forth. It could be like farmers markets and so forth, crops. And also it's coming together with Chiron and Aries. Okay, Chiron and Aries has to do with having to heal at 23 degrees of Aquarius. So there's this healing aspect here with the 23 degree of innovation. Okay, there's something has to change when it comes to how you heal. Okay, and a lot of this healing has to do with our childhood wounds. And if we haven't healed our childhood wounds, it's going to come up as adults. Okay, and we're not going to know how to deal with it unless you either hire a coach or you do some self-development on yourself, or you learn how to self-heal yourself, which is what I've done. Well, a little bit of I've done, and then I have hired a coach for 3 years that helped me immensely a lot. And I keep reinvesting in myself, to always know more, because I am not the type of person that I think that I know enough, or I think I know everything. I'm always, always learning. So I'm a lifetime learner. And so, it's going to impact you as an adult if you have not healed any childhood wounds. A lot of it could be abandonment issues. A lot of it could be maybe you were raised in the wrong community, and you probably still live in the same community, or the same type of environment, and that needs to heal, you know, and choices need to be made regarding real estate, regarding your community, right? It's also coming together with this asteroid here of Rico, which is rich Italian. Okay. And there's this healing aspect that comes together with this asteroid. Okay. Also, recently there was was it a cyclone, or I forgot. It was some kind of weather storm in Sicily. So there could be this continuation of having to heal over loss and damage that happened in Sicily, Italy. And I say that because this asteroid here of Rico is rich Italian, and then Chiron is right next to it. Okay. So there's this certain healing aspect here in the sign of Aries. Some kind of innovation has to happen. with Italians. Um, the next asteroid that we see here, let me click on here. I don't know. I've been having technology problems. Okay. My computer's been a little bit slower than usual, and I have a VPN on my computer. So, um, yeah, it's on. I had to look at it to see if it was on. The next asteroid is Silver. Okay. Silver is also in the sign of Aries. And so, Silver, it's at 27 degrees, okay, of communication. And so that is what's going on there. So silver, for those that are investing in silver, okay, it's in the sign of Aries, and it is about communicating and coming together with Rico. Okay, so rich Italian. There might be jewelry, that might be selling that is made in Italy or something like that. It's in alignment here, okay, with healing. Okay, there could be some, there's jewelry that heals, and especially like if it's made in Italy or something like that. It could be something like that. Okay, that people might be selling jewelry and it could heal. As a matter of fact, speaking of healing, I recently bought me a copper. I don't know why I seen it. I actually been wanting to do it. I have a copper water bottle, right? And then I could not find it. And I don't know what happened to it. I'm like, what happened to my copper bottle? I hadn't drank from it for a while. And so I don't know, it's probably lost somewhere in the house. I can't find it in the kitchen. And my mom couldn't find it either. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to buy me something of copper. I was going to buy it again, another one, but I seen this bracelet that was made out of copper. And for those that know, even if you have a copper water bottle, it's really healthy for your body. Okay. In India, they drink a lot from the copper. They have like copper mugs, and I think they have the water bottles and so forth. And holistically, it is very good for your body. Okay. It takes away like just bad toxins, and helps you lose weight. Not I wouldn't say lose weight, but it just helps you stay on the same plateau, so you won't gain weight. It's just very super healthy for many things. You can actually chat GPT it or Google it. But I bought me this bracelet here, and I've been having a little bit of pain on the wrist. And ever since I started wearing this copper bracelet, I don't know what it did. I actually bought it in Amazon, and it's authentic. And it was very affordable. I think it was like $15 or something. And so I've been wearing it, and I don't have pain anymore. So I'm just like, and it's all the way from India. And I'm not having pain at all. I'm like, wow, that's miraculous, right? And so I wear it, and it looks very. I like how it looks too. It looks very fashionable and stuff. And so, I do believe in copper. I do believe that it can help the body, and and so forth. It's good for so many things. There's people that actually drink copper water. I think there's a liquid, and then you put the liquid in water, and then you drink it. You're drinking copper in your body. Maybe if you lack copper nutrients or something like that. But I like my bracelet. I really love it. And so the reason I say that is because silver, although this is not silver, this is copper, but silver, and I actually should add a copper. I think there might be an asteroid of copper in here. I don't know if there is. Let me see if there is one. That way I can add it. Yeah, there is. Let's see. And it's in the sign of Aries. Interesting. In the 10th house of elevation. Wow, interesting. Okay. So I just wanted to see where it's at, and it's important to know where it's at. Another thing too here, that the moon, so the square here, it's in the sixth house of Capricorn, okay? And where Pholus is at 12 degrees of loss. Okay, this, it might have something to do with business, politics, real estate, and it's coming together with Juno, which is the asteroid of marriage. And it's, I don't like the degree. Okay, I really don't. It's a Virgo degree. It's 18 degrees, but it's considered evil. And not because Virgos are evil. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not insinuating that. But many astrologers say that 18 degrees is an evil degree. Um, because, Virgos rule the police, and, we've seen all the brutality, and we've seen, ICE, and it's unfortunate because there are real cops that do really do a good service in their communities, and they get a bad rap because of the ICE, right? Everybody is probably even afraid of police officers now. Like, are you a real cop or are you not a real cop, And so that 18 degrees of Virgo, when it comes to marriages, maybe there might be a little bit too much structure, too much control. Maybe it just there's some problems that are happening within the local environment around. It could be around the environment, or it could be in the environment of either a Capricorn or business or politics, something to do with politics. And as it comes together with full, is something to do with business, okay? And so it could be something like that, okay? Where the moon in Aries is squaring, is challenging this community, okay? It's challenging this community where it could be that businesses are going down, businesses are being demolished. It's affecting marriages. And it's not just marriages, okay? It could be partnerships. It could be anybody you're in contract with. And, maybe you're both building a business and then all of a sudden it comes down, It could be something like that, where there's signature of contracts and so forth. So there could be a challenge there. Okay. And that's a biggie one there, because it's how we feel about situations like that, how we feel about the marketing that is being done in our community. Right. And is it real? Is it fake? What's going on? That Nancy Gutierrez, whatever. I have not even been following that. I know TMZ's all over that, Everybody, well, not everybody, because a lot of people they don't believe it to be true. They're joking about it, that, the people that were the criminals that supposedly, I don't know. I don't know if they say they broke into her house, and she was this lady that was there by herself, and they broke into her house and they took her or something. Well, supposedly the criminals, that they said that they didn't want her to accept Bitcoin as a ransom amount of money, that they were willing to accept any kind of money, just no Bitcoin. You knew that that was a hoax. And I actually happened to comment because, I thought it was dumb. It was hilarious too. At the same time, I said, well, maybe they'll send Mexican pesos. I don't know why I said that. And then they're saying that, maybe she's in Mexico, or in Mexico, they're doing this search, even in Mexico. And so it's just so dumb, Sometimes you think about your influence, it's just, I just said it because I was just trying to make fun of them because, they didn't want to accept Bitcoin. And I'm like, what kind of clowns are they? And you could tell it's just paparazzi. You could tell it's propaganda. I don't know. I really do not believe in what's going on. And I feel that it's distraction. Maybe it's distraction towards something that is more important. And they want us distracted on that. So you just have to be aware of what is going on. Anyway, So we talked about, so there could be some kind of challenge there with politics, with fake propaganda, with fake news, um, especially because now the moon is in the ninth house of countries. And in the ninth house of countries, there is about international eyeballs. Everybody's looking at the marketing. Everybody's looking at what's going on. Okay. Um, Now we have a trine here. Let me look at what asteroid is this. Oh, this is Tai Chi, so this is good. So the moon is trining Tai Chi right now. Tai Chi is an asteroid of money, big money. Okay, it's at 13 degrees of initiation of fresh starts, and let me look at. It's in the fifth house of life, in the fifth house of children. Um, it has to do with also gambles and how you express yourself in the sign of Sagittarius. So there could be some Sagittarius that are pretty lucky when it comes to money. Um, Something about initiation and action. Okay. The fifth house has to do with creative outlets and self expression and the fine arts. Okay. So that is where Tai Chi is in the sign of Sagittarius. That has to do with countries. And it's getting along very well with the moon. Okay. Um, let's see here. The moon. Um, so we have those trines. So that's good there. Um, Now the moon is squaring Jupiter. So this one's not so bad, but there is exposure. Now, if you don't want to be exposed for something, what's going to come out? Okay. And it's something regarding some communication. And when the moon squares Jupiter, it could be overindulgence. It could be something that went over the top. And it could be something about communication. Okay, something that was communicated. Um, and it could be that whole Nancy Guterres, to tell you the truth. There's this over the top of like news, TMZ, people online, they're making fun of it. Um, they don't believe it to be true. Like people are too awake. Maybe they did it to see if we're awake or if we're asleep. And obviously we're awake, right? So the moon is how we feel about this new start is making a challenge to something that's been exposed about family, children, um, anything like that. And when we're talking about Jupiter, we're talking about faith and religion and beliefs, the church, and there's a challenge there when it comes to leadership. And at 16 degrees of ancestors, okay, so it has to do with real estate. It was at 15, now it's at 16. So now it switched to 16. So now we're talking about real estate. We're talking about ancestors. We're talking about children. Okay, something is over the top. When it comes to children, something has gone way over the top. Okay, maybe that was made in order for us to forget all the Epstein thing that's going on because it's so horrific, and and then what? Oh, Prince Andrew, I think that's his name, Prince Andrew. He just got arrested, right? And he's actually a Pisces, but I did find out today that he's a rat. Okay, in Chinese astrology, and he's a four. His personal year this year. So four rules law and order. It rules structure, discipline. It rules the police, right? I have a four personal year this year. So this is why I've been always kind of like locked in, and I don't really go much anywhere to tell you the truth. Because I can't, I don't feel right going somewhere and knowing that I have work, I live work to be done at home, and I rather complete my work and then I feel good about, okay, now I can go and buy me an ice cream, or go somewhere, go look at some, to the mall or some deals. Or I actually haven't went to the mall for the longest long time. I used to go to Del Amo Mall all the time, and I would love to go because I feel luxurious there because it looks so different now. It looks like Beverly Hills. So they made it all very architectural and everything compared to what it used to look like. But I still like to go into like Forever 21. Well, actually, they don't have Forever 21 no more, but H&M, and stuff like that. It makes me feel bougie when I enter a mall. But I need to start doing that. I need to start, and as soon as the 5 personal year enters on my birthday this year. And by the way, happy Pisces seasons to every Pisces. I'm a late Pisces, so I'm right at the tail between Pisces and Aries. I have to wait 3 more weeks. Oh, it hasn't even, not even like 4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks till my birthday. And yeah, so this is what's happening here. So that's what's happening here with the moon. The major thing that I see, that there could be some challenges here with like business or Capricorns or international eyeballs. It could probably be like it's maybe pushing you to step yourself out there. There is going to be a lot of competition this year, with so much fire. I would suggest not to compete, to stay in your lane and do what you're best at doing, and be grateful, where you are so you can have more, and understand, use your influence to influence, just go out, take some pictures. I want to actually do that. I just wanted to do the podcast, and then, I got to do my hair, and there's a lot of things I have to do too, but I wanted to just pump this episode out here with the AstroWeather, just to, follow up every week and just talk about what's going on. And, usually when the moon is in Aries, it's going to affect Libra, it's going to affect Capricorns, and is going to affect Cancer. So, we're talking about real estate and families, we're talking about business, we're talking about leadership, and what is the other one? And Libra, which is about balance, balance, and it's also intelligence too. Libra's a sign of intelligence. They don't really see it much, but I do feel Libra is about ideas, and it's air. Okay, it rules ideas, and it rules air, and it rules attorneys, it rules judges. And Judge Judy is a Libra, by the way, and she's a really good judge. So it could just be about that. Is more about, it's also beauty and elegance, when it comes to Libra. But when we have the moon in Aries, it's making either an opposition or is making challenges. I'm hearing you're going to do an impact. That's what's coming down real fast. You're going to do an impact. I'm like, okay, I hope so. And it's not that I don't doubt. It's just, a lot of things are mounting in my life right now with the year of the horse. And I'm trying to like wrap things up. Okay, I did this, I did that, and I'm trying to use my calendar now more, because I'm a little bit behind, to tell you the truth. I have to go faster. But my body is a little bit, tired. So I've been doing power siestas, and I'm learning right now how to enter the year with the horse, I signed up to like this webinar, and for 3 days, and they're teaching females how to use the fire horse, right? And one of the things that I'm learning is about having 1 to 2 hours, and putting 1 to 2 hours aside, and make it, well, she labeled it the CEO hour or something like that. And what I call it is the privilege hour. Because for me, if I call it the CEO hour, it just means I'm going to be doing CEO stuff, well, it is for that. If you have too much going on, it's like, okay, CEO hour for 2 hours, and focus on what you have to do for these 2 hours, right? But I call it privilege hour instead, or privilege time, for those 2 hours. And then I tell Siri, put the alarm for 2 hours, and it'll set it up for 2 hours. And within those 2 hours, I'll do, okay, what can I do, to catch up? What can I do right now? You know what I mean? go create my coffee or go create my drink, my juice drink, my glow drink, or you know, I don't know, go run an errand that you have to do, you have 2 hours, right? And you come back and then you just get back to work. You know what I mean? And it's my privileged time that I could do whatever I want for 2 hours, right? And it's good to do that. That way, you can be um, organized, and you can be focused on the things that you did. And I have to have that. I can't just be working like a horse, like work, 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 work. I just can I will crash. And so and I think it's because I have Mars in Capricorn and it's in the ninth house. And so it has to do with like fun and adventure and getting out. And I'll be like, okay, let me go buy me an ice cream and then I'll come back and I'll feel rested and then now I'll have more energy to do what I need to do. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's 3:44 right now. I've been running into a lot of 44 numbers this year, I think because I'm a 4. So I don't know what that, but that's what I'm doing right now. I'm scheduling time off. So it's my privileged time, right? And do what I can for those 2 hours. That has nothing to do with work. I just need to set those 2 hours aside, and then get back to work after 2 hours, and so forth. So anyway, this is what the podcast is about today. And it is about the moon in Aries. We're gonna have, I would say, let me look here. Um, Tomorrow. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, tomorrow. The moon's gonna last till tomorrow. Okay, around this time. Yeah, it's gonna leave about, I would say about 3:30. Uh, and then it's gonna enter Taurus. Okay. So when the moon enters Taurus, we're going to feel more relaxed. We're going to feel more like luxurious, uh, taking, our slow time, um, cooking. Maybe you want to cook. I love Taurus moon. I really do. It's very grounded. It's very relaxed. It just rules. Just take a break. You know what I mean? Relax, right? It is going to be Saturday, so anything after 3:30, that's when the Taurus moon is gonna enter. But today and part of tomorrow is still gonna be the moon's gonna still be in Aries, which is a good it's a good thing because I do like moon in Aries, because you could get a lot of stuff done. You know, the only thing is that if you're angry, you're going to be, or you're going to be a shit talker. You know what I mean? A lot of Aries can be that way. And, I have Aries in my solar chart, in Venus, and also in Mercury and the part of fortune. Okay. So I've been, I don't know, there's been like Aries that have been, I don't know what it is. There's something about Aries, like, and I'm talking about like Aries males, that I feel like they've been like attracted towards me or something. I don't know what it is. And or they try to trigger me in some kind of way and I'm just like, I'm not triggered. You know what I mean? I laugh at it because you got to laugh, you know what I mean? You can't be triggered or whatever, it's like they want clout. I already, believe me, I've been around the block. I already know how those type of people are, and they want clout. They want to get famous. I'm like, you're not getting famous off me. No way. So I don't reciprocate. I'm not gonna be arguing with nobody. Or they could say whatever they want to say about me. It's all bullshit because they don't really know me. You know what I mean? And so, and that's the wonderful thing about solar charts. They think I'm a fish, but I'm a shark. I'm just like, I'm not going to be stressed out about anything that anybody says about me. Whatever they have to say about me is none of my business. And I'm leading a happy life and gonna make a big impact. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to do that. and everybody's able to do that. It's not just about me, everybody's on different levels and how they impact and you know and the impact they want to do. So anyway, this is Laura Francesca here at Podbean, and also you can hear it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and so more. So if you did enjoy the podcast, like it, share it, tell your friends, and download it, and see you on the next episode.